presented in partnership with Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269BL Milwaukee. A locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is your 1017 The Truth News Update.
Hello, everyone. This is Rhea Riley with your news update. Two 12-year-olds are in custody after threatening a school shooting in Racine. The students, one boy and one girl, now face charges of making terroristic threats and disorderly conduct. Police were notified this morning of threats made by students to shoot up Racine Christian School, leading to classes being canceled. While initial investigations suggest the students didn't have immediate access to firearms, police did locate a map of the school. The two are now being held in juvenile detention, with those charges pending approval by the Racine County District Attorney's Office. A trial date is set for the man accused of killing Milwaukee police officer Kendall Corder. Jermaine Jones will stand trial on March 30th. The 22-year-old faces 3 felonies, including first-degree intentional homicide, attempted first-degree intentional homicide, and first-degree recklessly endangering safety. Jones allegedly shot and killed Officer Kendall Corder and wounded his partner, Officer Christopher McCrae, in an ambush back in June. Jones could face life in prison if convicted. The Internal Revenue Service is providing tax relief for people impacted by last month's flooding in southeast Wisconsin. Those who live or have a business in Milwaukee, Waukesha, or Washington counties qualify for tax relief. This comes after a disaster declaration was issued by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The IRS says those affected will have until February 2nd to file returns and pay any taxes they were originally due during this period. This has been your news update. Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris is next on the new 1017 The Truth.
Bringing you his authentic perspectives on important topics.
They live in suburbs together. They live in the city together. They hang out together, all in the same family. We're the only idiots that fight because we want our voice to only be on one side. Like, does that even make any sense? And when the side loses, you lose everything. They, on the other hand, have a voice no matter what because somebody that looks like them is always in control.
Frank, candid, and straight to the point.
Well, it's just a skewed system.
Of course it is.
It's a lot of judgment.
But answer my question, though. Should we let people go? Should we let people go? Like, let's just forget about bail altogether. And if your neighbor commits a homicide and kills people up, if you kill people and they next to you and you just let them come back and live right next to you, they can live upstairs from you. Let them come in your house.
Frank, candid, and straight to the point. This is the best radio show in the state of Wisconsin. Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth and the Truth app.
Now, he's the mayor of the city of Milwaukee. He's a young man. Give him a chance. I only complain about things that I care about. What I want you to do is pretend like I'm in St. Louis. And all I'm asking the mayor and the Common Council president and the Common Council, show me.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Dr. Ken Harris.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. I'm sitting here trying to type my name, and my issue is if I have too much time, I get distracted, and then you start doing stuff. So there's this conversation going on in the other. They are in a, like, I'm trying to get my show produced, and they're too busy talking about women and relationships, and they don't even know that I'm not talking. I'm going to just sit here. I'm going to be quiet and see what they say. They finally noticed. They were so into this conversation that I just stopped talking and they just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, I need some music I can play. I wish I had a microphone in there. But if y'all was talking about the same thing y'all was talking about, all of y'all full of nonsense. Nonsense. You know I don't like, oh, you want to fight? You don't like, you know I don't like buzzers. Not you. Oh, it's like that? Okay. All right. If Glenn is not here tomorrow, I made him disappear. I'm just letting you know now. LinkedIn, X, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and 1017 The Truth FM. Everybody know, if Glenn ain't here tomorrow, it was me. If Glenn is not here tomorrow, it was me. I take full responsibility. I tell, let me quit, because if Glenn ain't here tomorrow, they're going to be like, Dr. Ken, can you come in the office? I'm like, what'd I do? Glenn's not here. It's not my problem. We have tape in 25 different places that said, you threatened him. And then I'll have to, wow. So can I get a day off by canceling myself? I wonder, can you do that? 833-212-1017 is the number. Today is Black Book Thursday, and I am excited beyond compare because I'm going to be talking about one of my absolutely most favorite topics, and that is MONEY. And I know we're going to get all the haters and all the people who are going to be out, money isn't everything, and blah, 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 blah. But we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about The Whiteness of Wealth, a book by Dorothy A. Brown. And I think what you'll be amazed about are the subtleties that occur in America that most people don't know about. And I didn't send you my rundown, did I? Yeah, he's not listening because he's too busy having a conversation with. So I'll just wait. Oh, he's back. I didn't send you my rundown, did I?
No, you did not.
Okay. So let me do that because, I mean, I worked a long 2.5 hours this morning, ripping and running and doing stuff, and I looked up and, you know, back in the, it's like every time the seasons change, the car goes. Every time there's always at least one thing. By the way, you have this and such on your car, and you have to fix it. And I'm like, okay. So I have to leave here and run to the car shop to get literally one thing fixed, and then I'm done. Makes no sense, but anyway. Before we get started, I want to take a look at and give an overview of black money. And so we understand about black money. And this book we're going to be talking about today, the Whiteness of Wealth, I've been talking about it for like 2 weeks. And I want people to understand that The Whiteness of Wealth is a book that makes really good comparisons between black and white wealth from a policy standpoint. The numbers we understand, the numbers we know about, but it comes down to policy. And if we don't understand the policies, we'll never be well off. And when people say money isn't everything, it is. And personally, I don't understand why people say that. But we need to understand that money literally makes the world go round. It makes your life simple. You live longer with money. You have better health care with money. All those things play a part in how you live your life. And so trying to get people to understand that, trying to get people to know that in the end, how you live, how you work, where you work, is a byproduct of income. And so the sooner we understand that, the sooner we can come to grips with what we can do in our lives, what we can do in our children's lives, what we can do to make life better. But for some reason, people eschew making money. So here in the opening, what we're going to do is take a look at what exactly money can do for people. We're going to take a look at what money can do to help us become greater, to do greater things, to have more. For some reason, people don't seem to understand that we have money and it allows us to do all sorts of things like go to college and all that. It allows us to buy a house, buy a car. And when we're unable to do that, our quality of life goes down considerably. And so I think it's incumbent upon us to really take a look at how money is going to impact our lives, how money is going to give us what we need in order to survive. But when you talk about black and white wealth, that's something that we're never going to overcome. That's something that we're never going to be able to understand, because it comes down to policy, period. So make sure you hang around. Book by Dorothy A. Brown, The Whiteness of Wealth, up next.
And that is Dr. Ken's Truth on the new 1017 The Truth.
Do I dare even answer this man's call?
Sure. Are you there?
I ain't even answered the damn call yet, man. Bob, keep this on the... Bob, listen to me. Keep this on the subject matter, and if you can, we can't take your call, man. You distracted.
Okay, now look. Since you don't listen to Linda about getting married, at least take that thing around your neck to push when something happens.
Watch all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows by subscribing to 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
It's 1017 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. When a customer chooses Pella, one of the most important things to them is honoring that trust and commitment. A lot of customers might have apprehensions about inviting someone out to their home. But when you see the experience and professionalism, you can trust them with bringing your project to life. Their vision is to be the company that people want to do business with. Watching them work from idea to installation gives you the ability to see firsthand the care taken to ensure the Pella experience is complete. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Order by the end of the month and get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 9/30/2025.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you can save between 5 and 20%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. Visit amfam.com to learn more. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are much closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You are listening to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. The whiteness of wealth. The whiteness of wealth. The whiteness of wealth. Before we get started, SE, good morning. Josh, Kwanda, what's up? Who else is in here? Curly Q, what's going on? Is it Babar or Babar? I don't know, really know. Matthew, everybody's up in here. All right, y'all acting crazy today. So, money. Let's talk about money. So, in The Whiteness of Wealth, Chapter 1 is titled Married While Black. So, we're familiar with driving while black, right? Well, Married While Black talks about the policies in the U.S. tax code and the tax system that was talked about being race neutral, but it only took into account the characteristics, the culture, the customs of white America, which then disadvantages black Americans. And people say, well, how can it disadvantage black people? Well, some people it does. Dorothy Brown zeroes in on the marriage bonus and the marriage penalty that's built into law. So, for many white couples, a marriage bonus arises because one spouse earns significantly more than the other, allowing joint filing to reduce their overall tax burden. Black people, however, are much more likely to have both spouses working, earning similar incomes, and this produces a marriage penalty, meaning that they pay higher taxes simply because of how the income is split across the two earners. And so she talks about the structural inequality in the tax system through her own experience in doing her parents' taxes, and found out that because they were black and they were making close to the same thing. And I gave the example here of how two people can make $50,000 and pay more tax than one person making $100,000 and their spouse doesn't work. It's not about individual choice. You shouldn't have to pay more tax because you both make the same amount of money or close to the same amount. The total should be the total, but that's not how the system works. So black women have historically worked outside the home at higher rates than white women. Why is that? We don't know. It reflects economic necessity. That's what economists are saying. But remember, everybody says what they want to say because it's in their purview, right? If I look at things from a law enforcement or a higher education point of view, well, she looks at things from an economic point of view because she's a tax attorney. If you're an economist, then you look at things through an economic thing. That is why The choice that she made was that it was of economic necessity and limited access to single-income households. But what do you mean limited access to single-income households? Well, do you know a family of four that can live off $50,000 a year? Because paying rent today, I don't know this. Not mortgage, just rent. I don't see that. So the central argument is that what appears neutral or for everybody has racially desperate outcomes because of the way race shapes family income patterns. And so if you're white and you make money in a certain way where one parent stays home and the other one works, then you end up with more money. And because that is an income pattern for white families, they prosper. Black ones do not. It contributes to the widening wealth gap, which I don't compare myself to white people, so I don't really care what the wealth gap is. We need to really just go back and fix the small issue we have today. If we would just go back to elementary school and start teaching kids what they need to know in order to be successful financially, then all of that stuff wouldn't matter anyway. But these issues, the tax code, makes it harder for black families to build intergenerational wealth. I can never say that word. And when we say intergenerational wealth only becomes intergenerational wealth and a legacy when it reaches 3 generations. If it doesn't reach 3 generations, if somebody's not living off money that great-great-grandma or grandpa made, it's not legacy. And we need to be cognizant of that so that we can work towards it. U.S. tax policy consistently favors white wealth accumulation and penalizes black economic life. So if you don't have certain accoutrements, if you don't have a small business, if you don't have life insurance, if you don't have a trust, if you don't have a will, if you don't have certain things in life, which understand, are easy to get, and they're not for rich people. See, the mindset is that when I get money, I'm going to. And I'm like, no, you need to start thinking about it now so you already know what to do when you get the money. 833-212-1017 if you have a question about anything that we're talking about today. Tax policy is clear if you meet the criteria. Somebody put in the talking text line, they maxed out their 403B. Or they maxed out their Roth 401k. But most people don't know what that means. And Roth and 401ks were created so financial companies can take money called a 12B1 fee and get paid for investing your money. How the market does? It just does. And most 401ks at companies can't advise you. So odds are you make somewhere between, I forget the number, 8 and 13% more if you have a investment advisor advising you, even if you have a 401k through your company. They can advise you. Curly Q say, no, good morning, Dr. Ken. Do not make my day longer. I'm just thinking about tomorrow. Matthew said, as a non-married male, sick of you married folks not paying your fair share. Okay, first of all, you don't understand how the tax works. There is absolutely no such thing as a fair share when it comes to tax. You pay based on what you make. It's progressive. So even if it's progressive, and it is, people that make more money pay more money than you. Now, as a non-married male, what things don't you have, like advisor or whatever, that's not helping you save money in taxes and make more in investing? That's on you. You can't blame a system or people for literally using the same system you have access to do what they do, and you do what you do. But see, that's the mentality we have, right? Rather than work We just want everybody else to put in, so we don't. Somebody said, Matthew said, outlaw abortion, then punish you for having all those kids. I don't understand what that means. Ken said, good afternoon, Dr. Ken. Well, the National Guard are boots on the ground in Memphis, roadblocks all over the city, so many Texas State Troopers. Feels like Iraq. Sorry to hear that. But think about it. The more kids you have, the less you pay. Like there are so many laws and policies in taxes that actually all you really need to do is sit down and get with somebody who's an advisor or just read a book yourself to at least get an understanding of what's going on. But we need to understand tax law, the system, penalizes black economic life because we don't position ourselves to put ourselves in a place where we can take advantage of those laws. It's right there. The Internal Revenue Service knows it. They use it. It's right there. If we don't take advantage of it, that's on us. That's on us. They had a perception of what they thought America should be. They had a perception of what they thought the family should be. They had a perception about who would work and who wouldn't. And they created a system called the tax code that allowed their way of life to work. When black people live that way of life, it works for them too. But in recent decades, we've eschewed those things that we consider white, and now we have to pay for it. And the only way we can pay for it is to pay taxes. And now with 101.7 The Truth Traffic, here is Debbie Lazaga.
It's pretty slow along southbound 41 from about Appleton Avenue down to Capitol. Pretty solid there. And the northbound side backing up just before Mayfair Road up past Capitol Drive. Got more delays on the bypass heading out of the Zoo interchange down past Greenfield almost to Lincoln. On westbound 894 backups from just before Forest Home all the way through the Hale interchange. Southbound 43, watch out for delays from about Hampton all the way down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. Northbound slow for the Marquette up to north. And we have a crash on 94 eastbound at 84th Street off on the left shoulder. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 63. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, a slight chance for a shower far to the west. A high of 75 at the lake, 78 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 101.7 The Truth.
Don't touch that dial. More of Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Celebrate the reigning queens of disco with Disco Divas, running at the Bradley Symphony Center September 26th through the 28th. Principal Pops conductor Byron Stripling will lead the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and an all-star trio of vocalists in all of your favorite hits from the disco era. Think Donna Summer, Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, and Chaka Khan, as well as the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind & Fire, and even Michael Jackson. Those silky high strings and thumping bass lines will never sound better as you dance and sing along in your seat to tunes like I Will Survive, We Are Family, I'm Coming Out, and more. So what are you waiting for? Get those sequins out of storage and call the box office now at 414-291-7605 for Disco Divas or visit mso.org.
This is your Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin Community Impact Moment on 101.7 The Truth.
What was the life change? You know, we all know it happened and we know things happen and you have bad kidneys, but what was the life change afterwards?
A couple things. Before they even allow you to get on the list, they make you go through a battery of tests. And, you know, a lot of people don't qualify because they're overweight, or they have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. So all those things are requirements before you can even get approved to be on the list. So I had...
Wait, you got to be approved to be on the list?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's interesting. There's a professional athlete or former professional athlete I know right now that has kidney disease, and he's on dialysis, and he wants to get on the list, and he's not accepting all the things you have to do, you know, to get on the list. But yeah, so for me, I spent 30 years in the automobile industry. You know, that's 12, 14-hour days, eating whatever somebody brings you to eat, whatever you run out and grab, McDonald's, whatever. It was never salads and, you know.
Yeah, but that was a
water.
choice, right?
It was a choice. Yeah. But I had to change all of that to even qualify to be on the list. I had to get down to the weight I had to be at. I had to get my phosphorus under control, my potassium under control.
Wait a minute. Even though somebody said they would give you a kidney,
absolutely,
you had to still make yourself eligible?
Absolutely.
Nah, that's okay.
When I mentioned the athlete, his relative actually died, and they wanted to take his organs, and they couldn't because he wasn't qualified. He wasn't on the list. Wow. Yeah, you have to be.
So there are over 100,000 people on that waiting list. So they are very serious.
And how many donors do we have?
And that's the problem. We don't have nearly enough donors.
Wow.
And that's why it's such a critical need. But they are serious about who they're giving that gift of life to, because there are so many people who are literally dying waiting for it.
To make an impact by donating blood in your community, visit versity.org today.
This Associated Bank Sports Center update on 101.7 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Andrew Simmel. The Milwaukee Brewers won 9-2 over the Los Angeles Angels Wednesday night, thanks in part to a second-inning home run from Sal Frelick.
3-2 pitch. There go the runners. This is driven out to right. It's hit well. Adele is back at the track. Bye-bye baseball! The summer of Sal, maybe the fall of Frelick.
The 93-59 Brewers wrap up their three-game series against the Angels this evening. First pitch is at 6:40 and can be heard on our sister station, 620 WTMJ. And Thursday Night Football tonight has two AFC East teams facing off. Winless Miami Dolphins travel to take on the 2-0 Buffalo Bills. Kickoff is at 7:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime. This True Sports Update is brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
This is Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Oh, that's right. She wasn't singing to me. 833-212-1017 is the number. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris, on this merry day of Thursday, September 18th, 32 minutes after the hour. And it's Black Book Thursday. We're talking about Dorothy A. Brown, The Whiteness of Wealth. We're talking about Chapter 2 now, Black House, White Market. All right, so Dorothy Brown explores the tax law, federal tax law, as it interacts with housing policy and basically how to get a house, how to overcome and maintain, overcome the issues and maintain your house, right? Housing policy has been weird in America. There's a tax exclusion for the sale of a primary residence. Did you know that? So while you're putting your money in your 403B or your 401k, you need to own a house. You need to own a house that's cheap enough for you to afford, and in 15 years, have it paid off. Because no, I'm not giving advice. I could just say what I did. And in 15 years, pay it off, and your house should have appreciated enough where you should be able to do a lot with that money. Take it and invest it. Take some of it and buy another house. Like there are multiple things. Because if you think about the 15-year ranges you have in your life, up to age 15 or even 20, 21, you have about 4 15-year ranges, at least 3, where you could buy at least 3 houses and in 15 years sell it and pocket the money, and there's a tax exclusion. No, I'm not giving tax advice. I'm not giving advice about anything. I'm just saying what I've done. First house I bought was $54,500. The interest rate at the time was like 6%. I sold it 11 years later for $162,500. So you can you could double your money. Double your money. The beauty of it was tax-free. It allows homeowners to avoid paying taxes on hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit. While this benefit appears neutral, it disproportionately affects white homeowners, disadvantages black people because we don't own houses. And that is why we have partners like Axe Housing. We have partners like Associated Bank. We have partners like American Family Insurance that can help you with your home ownership, knowing that when you pass away, I hate the word transition. That's just a weird word. That when you pass away, when you die, and that house is left to your children, and they sell it, right? But there's an exclusion there too. You have to make sure exclusion. There's a rule there. There's a policy there too. You have to own the house for so long after you inherit it. You got to own the house for there's so many different things you have to look at. But the bottom line is home ownership is I would say, number 2 way for you to build generational wealth. The number 1 way is to simply invest. Dorothy A. Brown explains that white families are far more likely to live in a predominantly white neighborhood where values appreciate significantly over time. Black families are more likely to purchase homes in majority black neighborhoods where redlining, predatory lending, and ongoing appraisal bias, which is a whole other show we should probably do, suppresses home values. So when you live in a place and over time, the only way that you can make money in your house is to pay off your house, that's a problem. I live in one of those areas. I live in Sherman Park. My home has not appreciated to the point, well, I guess I should probably sell it before I say that. But on paper, it really hasn't appreciated because for some reason, the city of Milwaukee has always, I believe, this is my point of view, been racist as it relates to predominantly black neighborhoods. I couldn't understand how I moved here and went to the south side of Milwaukee and watched people buy a $300,000 house in the 90s, which is upwards of $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 now. And it appreciated so fast that they were able to sell it and make money off the sale. They literally went from house to house to house to house, lived in it, built it up, fixed it up, sold it. I don't mean flipping it because flipping is illegal. But think about that. As a result, black homeowners sell. They often see less or little or no gain, and sometimes even a loss, which means tax exclusion offers them little benefit. Meanwhile, white families selling in appreciating markets reap large untaxed profits, which then makes the gap bigger. So if you're living in Sussex or Conomowoc, or in some cases, Wauwatosa, Glendale, you could buy a little small house and sell it and make a lot of money. But like I said earlier, what about the generational impact? What about the intergenerational impact? White parents who sell homes with large gains then pass that wealth down to their children. Black parents can't. Even when black families stretch financially to move to better neighborhoods, they encounter hostility, no community support, inflated costs. Because now if you want to buy a house, the house is worth $350,000. But if the white person want to buy the house is $275,000. And sometimes we think there's a benefit to integration, and it's really not. I'm sending my child to a better school. Well, emotionally, your child may not be able to handle that. Brown underscores the housing market intertwined with tax policy systematically rewards white wealth building by virtue of the structure and penalizes black home ownership by virtue of the location. Those are my words. What looks like a universal tax break actually compounds historic discrimination, creating a cycle where white families continue to accumulate wealth and get bigger and bigger and bigger through housing, where black people just try to make a couple $1,000s on their home sale after they've owned it for 20 years because the neighborhood goes down. And so one of the things we talk about is when your taxes go up, your home should appreciate. But we know that's not so, because no matter what, it may appreciate, but who's going to pay that for it? Do you have the creature comforts of a type of community that middle-class black people are looking for where they would buy your house? You have to remember throughout the entire afternoon and evening, seemingly neutral tax laws are racialized. They're based on a type of family structure, neighborhood, and it perpetuates economic inequality. And when I say inequality, I mean the law is not applied equally in all cases. So what we need to teach in the black community is, how do you position yourself as a 20, 30-something to be able to, by the time you're 50, have enough financial resources to travel the world, to live where you want to live, to grow old and retire and not have it be a financial burden. One day we'll talk about the intergenerational 3 generations living in one home and how that can stifle your income. Because we are a familial culture, and we tend to take care of family on both ends. So there's some homes that have great-grandmother, grandmother, or grandfather, great-grandfather, father, and sons and daughters in the house. 4 generations, one house. And because we're familial, the extra money we do make we have to spend it to take care of grandma or grandpa. And while some of us are blessed to be able to do it and not see a financial burden, some of us are not. Next, I'm going to get into an area that I know well, higher education. And I've always pushed and talked about higher education being the great equalizer. Well, Dorothy A. Brown, in her book, The Whiteness of Wealth, calls it, in chapter 3, the great unequalizer.
Don't touch that dial. More of Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. When a customer chooses Pella, one of the most important things to them is honoring that trust and commitment. A lot of customers might have apprehensions about inviting someone out to their home. But when you see the experience and professionalism, you can trust them with bringing your project to life. Their vision is to be the company that people want to do business with. Watching them work from idea to installation gives you the ability to see firsthand the care taken to ensure the Pella experience is complete. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Order by the end of the month and get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Server restrictions apply. It's 9/30/2025.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are much closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
School's back in session. Kids have their backpacks, school supplies, and new clothes. But are you ready as a parent? Families are the single most important factor in a child's academic success. This year, get to know your child's teachers. Stay engaged with their learning. Don't be shy about asking questions along the way. Because as a parent, you are your child's first and most important teacher. Learn more about how City Forward Collective is helping families, students, and schools thrive at cityforwardcollective.org.
Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all.
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 Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. Truth is proud to be the home of Marquette University High School Championship football, and we have a great matchup for you this Friday night. The Marquette High Hilltoppers go on the road to take on conference rival, the Oconomowoc Raccoons. Kickoff is at 7. Friday Night Football on the Truth is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Should I call out somebody on the radio about this? Or just let it go? We have a great matchup for you Friday night at Marquette High Hilltoppers. Go on the road to talk on conference. Oh, yeah. And so people laugh at me. Well, you always be pausing. I say, because I got to read. All right. Before the break, we want to jump in. The last segment we talked about home buying, how home ownership can affect intergenerational wealth, can build not only a tidy nest egg, but leave something to your children's children. I have run into too many people that complained and hollered about the fact that they didn't want to leave anything to their children. They wanted to spend it all. Bill Gates and all these other people who all the people who talk about, I just read a text and it just completely wiped my brain. People who talk about they don't want to leave money to their family. That is just bizarre to me. That is a person that doesn't understand, right? But that same person will push to have their child go to school. And since I read this book, I've since softened. I used to always call education the great equalizer. Equalizes opportunity, reinforces all sorts of things in your life. But what it also does is reinforces racial wealth issues, when combined with tax policy. So while education can improve potential for income, the benefits aren't distributed equally. Harvard the other day just said, hey, because of the Trump administration, we're going to have to not have our minority push for, Asians and black people and Hispanic and Pacific Islander and Native American. We're not going to do that anymore. So we already have an LSAT and ACT that is written by people who are outside of our cultural norm. So all the things and all the examples that they use, many people, unless they've taken the test before, don't understand, don't know, and therefore can't do simple things like word problems because the concept is a little different. Now, some people say that's a cop-out, but when you recognize it, everything we do in higher education is geared to white upper middle class. So then you take advantage of housing, you take advantage of income because you pay less in taxes, you get the tax benefits that build generational wealth, and as a result, white students frequently graduate with little or no debt. Black families lacking comparable intergenerational wealth usually rely on student loans. Now, here's the misnomer about that. Here's the twisted part. If I have my numbers right, and I can be wrong, or should I say I might be wrong, there are more white people with school loans than black people. The problem is black people have more school loans than white people. Does that make sense? The amount that black people have on average is higher than what white people have. But again, I was able to learn those types of things, being put in the Boy Scouts, understanding, citizenship in the community, citizenship in the nation, citizenship in the world, all these little merit badges I had to learn. And I learned about all that stuff, investing and all that. That's why my children graduated from college with 4-digit, and I mean like mid to low 4-digit school loans. But how can you make it in life if you're saddled when you start your career knowing you have $150,000 of debt, $120,000 of debt, $50,000? How do you do that? It creates a diminishing return on your degree. And so she talks about the tax code amplifies it. Deductions for college expenses, education savings loans, and tax credits benefit higher income because if you can't take the deduction, you can't take advantage of it. Black families tend to have lower incomes, higher debt burdens, receive minimal benefit or none. And so we use a policy that's supposed to help us go to school when in fact it actually generates inequality. And so you can have an advanced degree in law, a doctorate, an academic doctor, or a medical doctor, or a dentist. Your ability to buy a house, invest, give wealth to your children when you pass is significantly delayed or diminished by virtue of the fact that you've got debt. I watched people get married, and it was astounding. When I worked in Chicago, I had a few of my white counterparts, and I had a few Hispanic guy married a white female. When they got married, they didn't have any debt. They literally bought a house. Well, what are you going to do? Oh, we're getting married such and such a day. Oh, okay. And at this time, I didn't know. Did you know that white people, when they get married, they give a gift and money? Like at the time, like 30, 40 years ago, I didn't know that. But those are the types of things that happen. They were able to buy a house the next week after they got married. I'm thinking I got to save up for them. Well, ultimately, Brown shows that education, rather than equalizing opportunities, becomes another mechanism where the gap persists. And so the great equalizer is, in practice, an unequalizer. So in some cases, telling a student to go to school, go get a 4-year degree, go to college, go to a professional school, literally sets up a failure rate. And it reinforces white wealth because now black people are financially vulnerable. See, these are some things that have to change. And we have to teach our children and figure out a mechanism for children to go to school and not have to pay through the nose. Me personally, I don't know why higher education costs so much. I don't understand. For the life of me, I don't understand why it costs so much. There's so many things that we can get rid of by virtue of the fact that if I have to have it for the student, then maybe the student doesn't belong in college. But instead of doing that, we err on the side of tuition payment. 833-212-1017 is the number. Let me jump to the YouTube chat. Matthew said investing about 10% of what you make every month, 30, 40 years, you'll be sitting on a couple million. That's not true. You got to invest 15%. At 15%, then you don't have to think about looking at it or coming back and all that. 15%. Think 15. It is easy, Matthew, because you get it taken out before you get your check. And you put it in a place where you have to go through a series of 4 or 5 things to do to get it, and you'll leave it there. Put your money out of state. Don't get a debit card. Don't get a credit card to the account. Like, there are a lot of things you can do. And so you talk about old heads talking about home ownership and they pay $12 for a 3. But that's the whole point. The whole point is the same money that you invest, the 10 or 15% into a 403B, you can invest into a house and have the same thing. Like, do you understand changing the context of where your money is doesn't change compound interest? It really doesn't. 833-212-1017 is the number. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. We're going to take a pause for Top 5 at 5 up next.
Come in with straight truth.
Everything got a message. I'll say this. Y'all can't be tired if y'all still messing with the negative energy. Every day I get on and say, the power of the tongue. Impulsive negative thoughts, reacting. And these kids watching you reacting all wild and crazy. The programming you watching on TV. The music. And now, like Security Mike said, it's popular to pop somebody. It's popular now. And these kids coming back, they coming back to somebody's house. They coming to eat a meal at somebody's house. They hanging out with somebody in the neighborhood who got a house, who paying the rent. They hanging out with you. They may be your relative. They may be your buddy. That social acceptance is there. Understand what I'm saying? So when we really tired, we gonna cut it off. We gonna stop it.
Tune in to all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows all day, every day by downloading the Truth app.
I'm Angela Bassett. As a first responder on screen, I know what it means to act fast in an emergency. In real life, the same urgency can save lives, especially when it comes to a food allergy. For 33 million Americans, one bite can turn an ordinary meal into a life-threatening reaction. And too often, they don't have the one thing that could save them, epinephrine. But emergencies don't wait. And when a severe reaction happens, being prepared makes all the difference. Now, there's a needle-free option, a new way to carry epinephrine that makes it easier than ever to be ready. No needles, no hesitation, because when the unexpected happens, the best thing you can do is be ready. Know the risk, know the options. Be ready to act. Learn more at foodallergy.org/ready-to-act.
Pollution from trucks is a public health crisis. Diesel-burning trucks belch dangerous levels of pollution, and communities living near ports and along freight corridors breathe especially high levels of this dirty air. But this crisis has a solution. My name is Sasan Sadat, and I work for Earth Justice. I'm working to clean up our air quality, particularly for communities that bear the burden of diesel pollution. For the sake of our lungs, our health, and our climate, the future of trucking in this country has got to be zero emissions. Until then, I will never rest.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit defending the environment and people's health. Earth Justice is fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. If clean air matters to you, visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is your 1017 The Truth News Update.
Hello, everyone. This is Rhea Riley with your news update. Two 12-year-olds are in custody after threatening a school shooting in Racine. The students, one boy and one girl, now face charges of making terroristic threats and disorderly conduct. Police were notified this morning of threats made by students to shoot up Racine Christian School, leading to classes being canceled. While initial investigation suggests the students didn't have immediate access to firearms, police did locate a map of the school. The two are now being held in juvenile detention, with those charges pending approval by the Racine County District Attorney's Office. A trial date is set for the man accused of killing Milwaukee police officer Kendall Corder. Jermaine Jones will stand trial on March 30th. The 22-year-old faces 3 felonies, including first-degree intentional homicide, attempted first-degree intentional homicide, and first-degree recklessly endangering safety. Jones allegedly shot and killed Officer Kendall Corder and wounded his partner, Officer Christopher McCrae, in an ambush back in June. Jones could face life in prison if convicted. The Internal Revenue Service is providing tax relief for people impacted by last month's flooding in southeast Wisconsin. Those who live or have a business in Milwaukee, Waukesha, or Washington counties qualify for tax relief. This comes after a disaster declaration was issued by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The IRS says those affected will have until February 2nd to file returns and pay any taxes they were originally due during this period. This has been your news update. Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris continues on the new 1017 The Truth.
Bringing you his authentic perspectives on important topics.
They live in suburbs together. They live in the city together. They hang out together, all in the same family. We're the only idiots that fight because we want our voice to only be on one side. Like, does that even make any sense? And when the side loses, you lose everything. They, on the other hand, have a voice no matter what, because somebody that looks like them is always in control.
Frank, candid, and straight to the point.
Well, it's just a skewed system.
Of course it is.
It's a lot of judgment.
But answer my question, though. Should we let people go? Should we let people go? Like, let's just forget about bail altogether. And if your neighbor commits a homicide and kills people up, if you kill people and they next to you and you just let them come back and live right next to you, they can live upstairs from you. Let them come in your house.
Frank, candid, and straight to the point. This is the best radio show in the state of Wisconsin. Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth and the Truth app.
Now, he's the mayor of the city of Milwaukee. He's a young man. Give him a chance. I only complain about things that I care about. What I want you to do is pretend like I'm in St. Louis. And all I'm asking the mayor and the Common Council president and the Common Council, show me.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Dr. Ken Harris.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. So Matthew is on this thing because I told him that, they're talking about averages. But clearly you don't understand about averages. He said, I do. That's why you people who talk about student loans bringing up those astronomical student loans like they are the norm. In graduate school, they're the norm. In professional school, they are the norm. So I don't know what you're talking about. Do you even teach in higher ed? No. So stop. You need to quit. Stop it. Average is just that. They took the highest and the lowest, divided it by the number of people. Of course that number is always going to be low and be around $40,000. The problem is, what's the median? Let's look at the median number. Hopefully it's lower. So, bottom line, if you don't have one, what do you care? It's just another way. You're actually complaining that I'm trying to, talk about how to save money. Yeah, that sounds about right. Anyway. Got to take a break. I almost jumped back. You almost got me back in. Almost got me back in, Matthew. But good chopping it up.
Number 5.
This from WISN.com. Republicans in Wisconsin are set to propose sweeping changes to how ballot drop boxes are used and monitored in legislation set to be introduced next week. Representative Scott Krug, Assembly Assistant Majority Leader and Vice Chair of the Assembly Elections Committee, will detail the proposals in an interview this Sunday on Upfront. The bill would also allow election officials to begin processing absentee ballots the day before Election Day, known as the Monday Processing Bill, which has previously failed to pass legislature despite bipartisan support. I think that's a great idea. I think the sooner we can get it in, the better. Personally, I think we should have a holiday, a work moratorium, something, so that, or just open them up for a week, right? Count it, and we need a better system, because this all going on one day stuff is for the birds. The bill will also allow election officials, again, to begin processing the day before the election. And in return, in an effort to gain more Republican support in the state Senate, the bill would mandate new security measures for municipalities that use drop boxes. I can kind of get with that. I don't trust a person and I don't know who the person is, and they're collecting ballots and said they're going to drop them off downtown. I don't know you. Who are you? Oh, I'm just going around all my friends and I'll take... No. The changes include 24-hour surveillance video of each drop box that will be live streamed to the municipality's website. Ballots would also need to be transferred under the supervision of a law enforcement officer. The legislation would also impose a penalty for clerks who correct errors on absentee ballot requests. I would think that was done already. But I think what has to happen is before to teach people how to actually understand voting.
Number 4.
This from jsonline.com. Now, I'm reading this story because this person is not my favorite person. It has nothing to do with the Trump administration, nothing have to do with that. She says that this year's biggest schoolyard bully is the federal government. That's what Jill Underly, Wisconsin's top K-12 elected official, said during the 2025 State of Education address in Madison. She used the annual ceremony to outline her priorities as superintendent of public instruction. Her themes were like this. Federal government is using funding as a bargaining chip. That's what they always do. They do it with transportation. They do it with health. They do it with education. Okay. Celebrating diversity, she criticized the federal government for working to undermine the very things that make our schools strong, welcoming, and inclusive places. I'd agree. Diversity is celebrated, not demonized. I agree. She said on state politics, she criticizes funding structures. Only if you're giving money back to people who pay into it and having the money go directly to the kids, because all you really want is more money for teachers. Then they said the gap of test scores between black and white children in Wisconsin. In 2024, 51% of white fourth graders tested proficient or better in math, according to standardized testing data. For black students, it was 5%. She referenced those scores during her speech. She said, for too long, Wisconsin has carried a painful and unacceptable label. So let me get this right. You, your predecessor, who's now governor, and every other person that's been state superintendent ain't done jack. Is that proper terminology? Ain't done jack to change it. Blamed the schools, said they didn't have money, but never lifted a finger to do it, to the point where you actually changed the name of what you label students when they take the tests and get a score, and you want them to make it sound so soft and helpful for them, when in fact they can't read. And you haven't done anything. You are the top K-12 elected official, and you haven't done jack. But this is the same woman that when her school got bad, her and her husband made enough money to send her kid to another school. But kids in Milwaukee should not have that chance. Other students shouldn't have that chance. You have to be able to take advantage of the whiteness of wealth to do what you want to do. Oh, okay, Jill. Yeah, anyway. Next.
Number 3.
I don't know if you heard from thegrio.com. ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel's late night show indefinitely yesterday after comments he made about Charlie Kirk's killing led a group of ABC affiliate stations to say they would not air the show and provoked some ominous comments from a top federal regulator. Well, it wasn't a top federal regulator. It was the FCC chairman. Like, my gosh, be accurate. The veteran late-night comic made several remarks about the reaction to the conservative activist assassination last week on Jimmy Kimmel Live this past Monday and Tuesday nights, including that many in MAGA land are working very hard to capitalize on the murder of Charlie Kirk. And he said some other things, too. It's those places' prerogative if they want to cancel or not, or cancel Jimmy Kimmel or all that. But remember, you're on public broadcasting waves, and it's run by the government, and you know who's in the government now. So I don't know why you're shocked that something actually happened.
Number 2.
From CBS 58, a 13-year-old boy arrested in connection to a shooting that killed the 11-year-old on Tuesday night appeared in court for the first time this afternoon. We're not naming him because, of course, he's a minor. Police say 11-year-old Deion Sargent died earlier this week as a result of a robbery. Mayor Cavalier Johnson says police told him Sargent was wrestling with another child over a gun when it went off. On last night, loved ones held a vigil and balloon release near 68th and Silver Spring where the shooting occurred. The 13-year-old suspect will have his next appearance on Monday, September 22nd at 2:30 p.m.
Number 1.
This from WISN.com. A Milwaukee police officer shot a 21-year-old man late last night after a chase on the city's south side. According to police, officers stopped the vehicle around 11:30 p.m. near 12th and Greenfield Avenue in the Walker Square neighborhood, and the driver got out and ran. Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman said at a news conference during the foot pursuit, officers gave the suspect commands to stop. The suspect dropped a firearm and attempted to retrieve it. At the time, the officer discharged his firearm, subsequently striking the suspect. No officers were struck by gunfire, and the suspect was taken to a hospital and is expected to survive. Police say a firearm was recovered at the scene. The man was arrested, and criminal charges will be referred to the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office. 12 News did ask Chief Norman why officers initially stopped the vehicle. He said he didn't have the answer yet, adding that it's under investigation. Does it matter? Like, I don't understand that. Does it matter if the person, like, why the fact is the person ran? Now, should he have been shot? I don't know. 833-212-1017 is the number. You gonna jump back in, Matthew? Come on, we've been chopping it up for God knows how long. Pew, you're looking at Pew Research. Come on, dude. If you want information about something that's a government function, you should probably check with the agency that handles that. It's called the Department of Education. When we come back, speaking of education, we're covering the book by Dorothy A. Brown, The Whiteness of Wealth. We're going to talk about good jobs.
Don't touch that dial. More of Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth Black Business Give Back Spotlight this Friday at 3:57 p.m. between The Tori Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. I'll be joined by Sensore Irvin, founder and executive director at Resources and Beyond. We will discuss her efforts in creating family stability for people in Milwaukee and why she opened up a community food pantry to provide the necessary resources to those in need in our community. So again, that's the Black Business Give Back Spotlight with Resources and Beyond this Friday at 3:57 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
At Hazelden Betty Ford, treating mental health isn't just about breaking old patterns. It's about braving new ones. As the leader in alcohol and drug treatment for 75 years, we know caring for addiction, anxiety, depression, and trauma goes hand in hand. We're here for you with new tools when life breaks down. Discover your path to better mental health at hazeldenbettyford.org/Wisconsin. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation.
Celebrate the reigning queens of disco with Disco Divas, running at the Bradley Symphony Center September 26th through the 28th. Principal Pops conductor Byron Stripling will lead the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and an all-star trio of vocalists in all of your favorite hits from the disco era. Think Donna Summer, Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, and Chaka Khan, as well as the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind and Fire, and even Michael Jackson. Those silky high strings and thumping bass lines will never sound better as you dance and sing along in your seat to tunes like I Will Survive, We Are Family, I'm Coming Out, and more. So what are you waiting for? Get those sequins out of storage and call the box office now at 414-291-7605 for Disco Divas or visit mso.org.
You are listening to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. When a customer chooses Pella, one of the most important things to them is honoring that trust and commitment. A lot of customers might have apprehensions about inviting someone out to their home, but when you see the experience and professionalism, you can trust them with bringing your project to life. Their vision is to be the company that people want to do business with. Order by the end of the day. Well, maybe you'll make it end of the month. You get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Visit PellaWI.com. That's PellaWI.com. Can somebody call somebody? This button for the headsets has so much dust in it that I can't hear myself. It crackles to the point where I can't even hear myself. Can't hear myself. Can't hear myself. 833-212-1017 is the number. He was making fun of Trump and not making fun of CK. I don't even know what that means. Hey, Dr. Ken, hope your day is going great. Thank you, Jasmine. He said conservatives love to argue semantics because they can't argue anything else. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. If people just spoke clearly and specifically, like, anyway, 833-212-1017 is the number. Angela said, it is ridiculous that just 2 miles from Sherman Park is Enders Park, where houses sell for $300,000. Tara said, great topic. Education is definitely needed. We must attend the financial workshops, which, by the way, are free. Proper long-term investments is a sure path to generational wealth, also allows money to work for you. And then Mercedes said, thanks for the book recommendation. I just ordered it. And Mari said, off topic, but I have to ask, can you call the police when you see reckless driving? Yes, you can. Or is it an inappropriate use of police resources? We chase people who drive recklessly. So, yeah. I'm sorry. They do. I'm retired. What is this? Okay. If your dash cam records it, can you send it to the police? No, you cannot. You could send it and they can get an idea, but they have to actually witness it because it's traffic. And so there has to be evidence and all that stuff, and it gets a little convoluted. So I'm pretty sure the DA would not take your dash cam for evidence. I'm just saying, unless there was an officer there. It's a long thing. 833-212-1017 is the number. Shar, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Yeah, I just have to say, number one, I really like your commentary because simple minds need to label everything. Conservative, whatever. That's a simple mind. The world is much more complex than everybody agreeing on everything in one corner or the other. So I appreciate that, somebody calling you conservative, that's meaningless. Totally meaningless. You're who you are.
Well, thank you much, Shar.
The other thing is, when you said why does higher education cost so much, I'm going to give you an example. Back when I was in school, I was finishing up my degree, and I needed a sociology credit. The same course, the same book used at Marquette, the course cost $1,200, and at MATC it was $300. And Marquette took the credit after I finished it at MATC. So what's up with that?
Well, one of the things is that Marquette is private and MATC is public and government funded, and people pay tuition to help it out. That's one.
I can appreciate that, but to the core is that higher education is overpriced. It really is. And people have to remember initially what is going to happen before there were loans and scholarships and stuff like that. Only wealthy people went to school, and that was the point.
That is correct.
That's where we're going back to. Only wealthy people, and particularly wealthy white men, were the only people who were able to go to school.
You know, some wealthy black people out there too, though. You know, some wealthy black people.
That's true.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking.
My final comment is that I went to school after I had 3 children on the weekends after I worked all week. So if you want it bad enough, you got to make sacrifices. I had the same coat and shoes for 3 years.
I know that's right.
Because I wanted a degree. So there are ways, if you really want it, stop going to the club, stop doing them big lammy eyelashes, and save your money.
And no more never full Louis Vuitton purses.
Yes. You take care.
All right, take care. 833-212-1017, the number. Vincent, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Good evening, Dr. Ken. A great topic. I'm enjoying it. But I have a question, because in the book it was talking about all these disadvantages black folks had and all the advantages that white folks have. And my question is, why are there so many poor white folks if they have all these advantages? Is it because of laziness, or is it because of the type of system that we're in this country, which is what I still believe is a caste system that doesn't allow the masses in order to take advantage of these things? Certainly there's ways in the system, in a capitalistic society, that you can move through each economic level from the top to the bottom to the bottom to the top. That's one of the beauties of the society. But I still think as a whole, we're still in a caste society that is not going to allow everybody to achieve the kind of financial independence that they want to achieve.
I don't know if I agree with that wholeheartedly. I've watched, seen, and experienced moving from one income level to another, and I understand that information is power. One of the things about the white community that I've noticed is they are very individual. They will cast somebody that does wrong to the side as fast as possible. They will blame and mitigate, like the killer of Charlie Kirk, and say it's mental illness. But when the black guy in Charlotte, who has mental illness documented, kills someone, they say he's evil. Because black people are evil, white people are mentally ill. So those types of nuances are what do us in, but we just need to go beyond that with education. And when I can control, Saul Alinsky and all those guys that were socialists said it, if you can control education, you can stop an entire mass of people from doing what you don't want them to do. And that is what they've done. That is why they want to keep all black kids in public schools, K-12. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist, but when you take out financial literacy, when you take out driver's education, that makes no sense at all. When you take out the things that help people function as good, decent adults and good, decent citizens, and you remove it, this is what you get.
Yes, but also I think that the community itself and the people that are sending their kids to school, there needs to be a demand to have those things put back. It needs to be a demand to have those things that we want to have those children achieve put back in those schools. And I don't think the demand has been there. I don't think the fact is we need a Marshall Plan, especially for public schools like Milwaukee Public Schools. We need a Marshall Plan that deals with educating those children. And so, but we don't see that outcry from the community to say, hey, this is what we want. And so we get what people give us. And so I think we're somehow responsible for that as well.
But do you understand why you don't see the outcry?
No. I don't understand why I don't see why we don't see the outcry. Because the kids are failing, and it also damages the community when those kids fail.
But do you understand why we don't have an outcry? We're really good at knowing what happened, but we're not good in terms of solving it. And so they're not crying out because they don't know. So if you've never been taught that this is important, why would you make it important for your child?
Yeah, that's true.
It's literally that simple. Like if you literally teach financial literacy to a kid in 4th or 5th grade, when they get to 8th or 9th grade, they'll be looking for a job. But we don't do that. We teach social media. We teach basketball player, football player. And so you get what you put in, right? Garbage in.
Exactly.
Garbage out.
Garbage out. Exactly. Well, keep it up. And like I said, I agree with this particular subject. I think it's needed. And so, hey, it's a good use of your Thursday.
Thank you much. I appreciate it.
Take it easy. Have a good weekend.
All right. You too. 833-212-1017 is the number. When we come back, still didn't get to it. It's Glenn's fault. I got to blame somebody. It's Glenn. He's the only one. He's the only one other than DJ Brother Z, and he's been getting blamed all day. So I thought really? Yes. And now with 1017 The Truth Traffic, here is Debbie Lazaga.
Well, looks like we still have this accident northbound 43 right at the ramp from Kilbourne. It is off on the right shoulder, affecting kind of your ride. You got delays going through the Marquette all the way up past the accident scene, technically stretching all the way up to Locust. The southbound side slowing from Keefe all the way through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. Another little pocket of heavy traffic heading past Good Hope Road as well. Now, southbound 41 has backups from Good Hope Road all the way down to Capitol Drive. Northbound is backing up from Mayfair Road almost to Capitol, just past Burleigh, where it actually eases up a bit. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low of 63. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, slight chance for a shower far to the west, a high of 75 at the lake, 78 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 101.7 The Truth.
Don't touch that dial. More of Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Here is Kyle Wallace with his truth.
Truth Nation, I guess I've officially graduated from big bro to unk status, at least according to my little cousin. That's what he said. Now, at first I pushed back a little bit, and I was offended by the assertion that I was old enough to be unk. But after a little thought, y'all, I actually embraced the label of being unk and the responsibility which comes with being quote-unquote unk. See, as unk, I think it's my duty to look out for and support the youth and young cats coming up after me. Embrace the role as being a mentor and role model and aim to protect our kids at all costs. With the news cycle always seemingly being negative towards the youth, we need to take it back upon ourselves to change the narrative and uplift our youth. Our kids are so much more than fights, stolen cars, Kia boys, or acting a fool in public. We can't allow a small population of children to depict who our kids really are in the city of Milwaukee. You have to resist the urge to want to bash our kids and be so quick to pass judgment or disparage the youth. And we gotta stop acting as if we were not once in their shoes, making poor decisions, having regrets. I know we have all been there. Now, regardless of how funny it may sound to say YN, don't label our kids that. That is far from a term of endearment, and we have to remember you become what people call you. If someone calls you dumb over and over and over again, you may start believing that you are dumb, and you may start having self-doubt in oneself. Don't put that type of self-hating energy on our youth, Milwaukee. We need to call them YKs and YQs for young kings and young queens, even when they might frustrate you. Remember, they are still only kids. With the summer being here, there is no better time to encourage them to aspire to be great. Give them positive reinforcement. Give them positive affirmation until we get it through their minds on who they really are and what they can become. An unstoppable force of greatness.
Listen to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace weekdays from noon to 1 p.m.
This Associated Bank Sports Center update on 101.7 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Andrew Zimmel. The Milwaukee Brewers won 9-2 over the Los Angeles Angels Wednesday night, thanks in part to a second-inning home run from Sal Frelick.
3-2 pitch. There go the runners. This is driven out to right. It's hit well. Adele is back at the track. Bye-bye baseball! The summer of Sal maybe the fall of Freeland.
The 93-59 Brewers wrap up their 3-game series against the Angels this evening. First pitch is at 6:40 and can be heard on our sister station, 620 WTMJ. And Thursday night football tonight has 2 AFC East teams facing off. Winless Miami Dolphins travel to take on the 2-0 Buffalo Bills. Kickoff is at 7:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime. This True Sports Update is brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
You are listening to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Girls in my crib, 0 Snapchat, 0 Instagram posting. The vibe might start falling like London Bridge. I don't care if I saw you in a magazine or if you're on TV. That one don't mean nothing to me.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. Here's what I was going to do. Right now it's 75 degrees. High today was 77 with a low of 64. Fair tonight, fair tomorrow. Saturday, 73 degrees is the high with a 50% chance of rain. So you might want to understand that and recognize that and expect it to, rain. Okay, Matthew's just talking ridiculous now, so I'm not going to read anything he says now. Just ordered the audio version of the book for myself and getting the hard copy for fam. Guess what? Everybody is getting it for Christmas. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's when you read it and you see it in writing and you understand what are some of the things you can do. And so I only got a couple segments left. So what I want to do is go through. I may do 2 and then do another one later. So Dorothy Brown examines how workplace structure and the federal tax code intersect to favor white professionals. You say, how's that? Well, compensation benefits and retirement plans, the way they're designed and function with the tax code to help people. She points out that white professionals are more likely to secure jobs offering significant non-wage benefits, such as health care, stock options, retirement contributions. Today, that's starting to change and waver. The perks are heavily subsidized by the tax code. Employer-provided health insurance is untaxed. Retirement contributions grow tax-free. And stock-based compensation benefits from preferential capital gains treatment can really help a person out. Now, white employees who historically have greater access to elite networks and opportunities and advisors and all that hold jobs that provide those benefits. So if you would just get some money and find an advisor that will take you on and listen to what I'm saying, not somebody that works for an insurance company. Insurance companies are for buying insurance. Investment companies are for investments. So go to a good investment advisor. I'm going to have some on my show. Okay? All right. She reinforces this argument with stories about black professionals who find themselves excluded from informal networks. That is why middle-class black people, poor, black people, rich, all join things like Prince Hall Masons, Divine Nine fraternities and sororities, because it includes an informal network that can then guide you to a higher paying job, a benefit-rich role, and somewhere where you can then create generational wealth. Make sense? Okay. So ultimately, she talks about the fact that this demonstrates that the tax code is not just about wages. It's literally about wealth building. But certain job-based benefits you're privileged to have. If you're putting money in a 401k, you're putting pre-tax dollars in a 401k, you are lowering your tax liability. Does that make sense? It rewards those already advantaged. And she talks about by race and class. Well, there are a significant number of black people that are advantaged because they have jobs.
Now, if you make more because you tend to hire people that look like you, which is why many times we always have a white boss because they hire themselves, you either start your own company or you work within the company in order to rise up and become the boss. It's kind of that simple. But is it simple? Of course not. Life is tough. Life is tough. But then we move to chapter 5 when we talk about that thing that everybody brings up and we talk about, and I guess I should start calling people out. By the way, if you want to call 833-212-1017 is the number. I guess I should call people out. You talk about legacy, but what are you actually doing? I'd start calling people out. Like, you talk about legacy. Oh, I believe in legacy. Okay, what are you doing to create a legacy? Tax law treats gifts and inheritances in a way that most people don't understand, that helps families preserve and grow wealth across generations. The more money you have, the more wealth you leave across generations. The transfer of wealth, whether during life or at death, is central to closing that gap. And many people just don't understand how to do it. They die without loans. They die without loans. They die without wills. They die without trusts. They die without simple things that are not expensive to get. White families use cash, homes, stocks, and businesses to pass down. The federal tax code makes this easier because it exempts most estates from taxation. Now, if you look at what the Trump administration did, they raised that number from $5 million to $20 million that you can leave tax-free, federally tax-free. And if I got that wrong, somebody let me know, 833-212-1017. You're stuck on the 20 million part, where if you got 100,000, you can leave that too. I mean, think about that. This means that the tax code makes it easier by exempting most estates from taxation and allowing heirs to receive property with a stepped-up basis. That means that unrealized gains on assets, such as appreciation, you bought your house for $54,500 and sold it for $162,500, or stock values are never taxed when you pass it on to your children. Think about that. As a result, white heirs receive significant untaxed windfalls when somebody dies. Oh, my grandmother died, now I'm going to college. Think about that. But if you have fewer assets, you have less to transfer. And you got to put it with housing discrimination and education loans and employment that doesn't pay you enough. Even middle-class black homes accumulate less. Why? Well, that's another show, too. But she underscores that tax policy facilitates white wealth transfer. But Vincent had it right. It is about caste. It's about how much money you have. For example, tax deductions for charitable giving disproportionately benefit wealthy, largely white households that have enough disposable income to give at scale. But I know black people that tithe at church, too. The problem is they can't reach the threshold of 7.5% in order to get deductions because they don't give away enough. She drives this point home by saying what should be a tool for building legacy reinforces disparity. So what are the changes black people need to do? What are some of the things that we as a community need to step up and do? When we come back, I'm going to talk about just that. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. I will hit the talk and text line, the chat in YouTube, X, you name it, I'll be there. Will you?
Don't touch that dial. More of Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Coming with straight truth.
Be careful of the decisions that you make and the company that you keep, because that is going to determine a certain consequence. So you don't have to wait to go to prison, or you don't have to wait to figure it out what the consequences may be. All you got to do is look at your decision making and who you allow in your space. If they making wild decisions, wild things gonna happen. But you don't get to choose what wild things are gonna happen.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
It's 101.7 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. When a customer chooses Pella, one of the most important things to them is honoring that trust and commitment. A lot of customers might have apprehensions about inviting someone out to their home. But when you see the experience and professionalism, you can trust them with bringing your project to life. Their vision is to be the company that people want to do business with. Watching them work from idea to installation gives you the ability to see firsthand the care taken to ensure the Pella experience is complete. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Order by the end of the month and get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 9/30/2025.
Here at Odom Investments and Property Management, we bring life back to homes. Looking to sell your home or need a trusted property manager? Or maybe you're ready to learn the real estate game through our Scale Up Journey internship program. Call us at 855-ODOM-WAY or visit odomhomes.com to get started today. That's odomhomes.com or 855-ODOM-WAY. Your journey begins here.
Friday Night Lights now officially lives here. 101.7 The Truth is the proud home of Marquette Hilltoppers football. Tune in Friday night as the Hilltoppers travel to take on the Economawalk Raccoons. Join our coverage starting at 6:30 p.m., leading up to kickoff at 7 p.m. Marquette Hilltoppers football is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. And sponsored by Left's Lucky Town, C.G. Schmidt, Capital Insurance Agency, Boyle Fredrickson, Annex Wealth Management, Magic Productions, and Berghardt Sporting Goods.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are much closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. Let's see. Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm just reading through the talk and text line. Matthew said financial literacy means nothing if you aren't making enough money. Absolutely not. That is the 100% wrong way to look at it. Thank you, Matthew. That didn't make no sense. If you're saving 10% or 15%, does it matter if you're saving 15% of $1 or 15% of $5? 15% is 15%. You learn to live off the difference. It gives you discipline so that when you make more money, you save more money. Anyway, mindset. Loke said, just ordered the auto. Okay, read that. Laron said, what about black people in the same positions? I don't know what that means. What do you mean, Laron? Okay, you asked and answered. However, there are some blacks who are invited to but don't attend those informal meetings. Well, it's on them. We don't live in a socialist society. I know some of y'all want that. You want to just make people do stuff, but you can't. You can't. Lote said, I agree, there's a time when blacks valued education and being educated. I would be careful when you assign a reason to something when you don't have enough information to figure out what that is. We don't know why black people don't want to go to school. We don't know why. We need to ask, because I believe every individual has an individual reason why they don't want to do something. And so while they're all doing the same thing, you can't assume they're all doing it for the same reason. That's all I'm saying. Nowadays, more and more younger generations aspire to be entertainers and athletes and just rich and famous. I'm a boomer, and we had that too. I'm just saying. So, I mean, it's just part of life, right? We live in a democratic republic, and you're able to work and grow, barring any negatives. You get to, kind of do your thing. So, but I understand where you're coming from completely. Let me check the text line. Okay, we're good there, and we're good there. So, finally. How do you fix this stuff? Because we're about solutions, right? It's not about the fight, it's about the solution. She argues that because the U.S. tax code is deeply embedded within structures that favor white wealth accumulation, incremental reforms are not enough to close the gap. What's needed is a rethinking of how taxes are designed and who benefits. She says race-neutral policies are not enough. The tax code has always produced disparities. Reforms have to be explicit. They have to be clear. And she calls for greater transparency. I say we need to give our kids a class on taxes. Give our kids like nobody taught me how to do taxes. It was one day, hey, you owe taxes. What? And then I had to go to somebody to fill it out and do my taxes. Like literally, that's how I figured it out. It shouldn't be that way. The federal government publishes everything. Get this. The federal government publishes everything by race, gender, and income except the taxes that they get. Nowhere in taxes will it say you can find your zip code, you can find your subdivision, you can find all that information about where you live except by race. Men, women, not race. Why is that? Because it'll show that the system is not equal. Mortgage interest deductions, preferential cash gains treatment, and the estate tax. I think, and this is where I venture away from Dorothy A. Brown, Dr. Dorothy Brown, we need to just start teaching it because information is power, and if you don't know, you don't know. So just like Matthew had a comment about making little or no money, that is not a reason not to save. It's not. The compound interest on money that's invested will significantly give you a really decent life when you retire. And we're talking about $100. $100 a week, $100 every time you get paid over 30 years. So we say it, we're just too impatient. We want to show it now. We want to floss now. We want to let everybody see it. Direct subsidies, wealth taxes, and credits targeted towards families historically shut out of wealth building opportunities should happen, and I agree with her. Brown recognizes that such reforms will face political resistance because when you can move up to me, and see, there's the thing that if I move up to middle class, I'm going to want to move in your neighborhood. I really don't. She insists that acknowledging and addressing racialized outcomes in tax policies is essential to creating a fairer society. I don't know if I believe that. I think if I give you enough information and give you enough of the things that you can do, you can take advantage of the same system. I see too many black people doing it. I have done it, and there's no reason someone else can't do it. But again, it comes down to what information do you have? We all know the gap's not closing itself. But I don't know if race-conscious tax reform is going to do it when we haven't taught the people. You know, that's the, what's the name of that baseball movie? Field of Dreams. If you build it, they'll come. Right. You could change the law, but will we come? Will they teach us? We got to go back to talking about people like Jill Underley that has done absolutely nothing to help MPS publicly. She hasn't spoken out in support, and it's public school. But I bet if it were Green Bay or Shorewood, she would definitely speak out. She would definitely speak out. And the reason she would speak out is because they look like her. And here's my thing. Prove me wrong. That's all. And I don't know what she would do, honestly. I have no understanding or know why she does what she does. It just makes no sense. I think that she's not the person. Because we need to get not financial literacy, but financial training. Financial training into each and every single person that's in K-12 school. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. Thank you for hanging with me for Black Book Thursday. I'll be talking about who we're going to have in October, and I might even have a special surprise for you coming in October. Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate you, brother. God bless. Take care. I will see you in 22 hours. I'm out.